Welcome, everybody, to the Tuesday Notary Titans call. My name is Jen Neitzel with Marketing for Notaries. I am one of your co-hosts, and I am joined today by the fabulous Laura Biewer. Hi, Laura.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
No, it's a good day. I'm not teaching today, but I have 7 notary appointments. So I got my first 3 done, and I got 4 more to go. And then I'm driving to Gilroy tonight because I teach in Gilroy tomorrow.
Good for
Busy
you.
day.
You have had a busy day. You have had a busy day. Love that. All right, guys, we are here to answer all of your notary related questions. If you are brand new to this call, welcome. We are absolutely thrilled that you are here with us today on this free group coaching call. Like I said, Laura and I answer all your notary related questions. Nothing is off limits. If you would like to ask a question, all you have to do is look at the bottom of your Zoom screen and you'll see a raised hand function. You'll raise your digital hand to get in line to have your questions asked. And just as a reminder, we farm these questions from raised hands first. We don't look at the chat as much for questions. It's hard to manage that as a co-host. So we do have some support on the call today, like we do every week. And that includes Jen Cooper with JKC Mobile Notary. She is waving at you right now. And of course, the one and only Matt Miller, the president of the California League of Independent Notaries. Hey, guys. We appreciate everything they do each week to support Laura and I on this call. Jen's going to be joining us in a minute with her mentorship minute. But first, we're going to start the way we always do with some announcements. If you're able to turn your camera on, we would love to see your beautiful faces. It helps us get to know you a little better. So turn that camera on. If you can't, no explanation is required. We understand not everybody's in a position to have that camera on. If you are ever looking, guys, for the TNT replay, it has a new home. You will find that by visiting the at Marketing for Notaries YouTube channel. So that's where you're going to find all the replays. We've had some issues in the last couple of weeks with chat bots that are forcing the call to shut down early. So we have a new rule. Moving forward, today forward, no more chat bots will be allowed on this call. It's causing a disruption in Zoom, and it's only allowing us the last 15 minutes of each call. So if you've tried to catch the replay over the last few weeks and you're wondering why it's so short, that is why. Zoom has told me to eliminate chat bots from the meeting. So I apologize for that, guys. Okay, we have a few announcements we want to make today. The first one is about the NNA conference that's happening in June in Henderson, Nevada. It's June 8th through 10th. We hope to see many of you there as it is a wonderful experience. But if you have already booked a hotel room, at the discounted rate, but you can't make it for some reason, please reach out and let me know. My email is jen@Marketing for Notaries. We have someone who is unable to make it. They've had something come up and they wanted to be able to pass along that great discounted hotel rate if you are going. So if you're interested in that, let me know. Okay, our next announcement, sorry, I'm scrolling as I'm talking here, um, is about the Pacific Northwest Meet and Mingle. Gosh, I can't say that fast at all. It's happening Friday, March 14th and Saturday, March 15th in the Emerald City, Seattle, Washington. It's a fabulous conference. If you guys are in the area or you can get there, I'm going to be there. Laura's going to be there. Several folks are going to be there. We would love to see you. In fact, Nicola Jackson at the NNA is going to be the MC. And you guys, if you've been in this business for any length of time, you know Daniel Lewis. He's going to be the keynote. So you're going to want to be there for this. And then we have a course announcement from our very own Jen Cooper. The Chat GPT course that she told you guys about last week is going to be launching with a free workshop, a free Chat GPT workshop on Saturday, March 22nd from 9 to 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. It's going to be on Zoom, and the registration link is in the chat if you want to get signed up for that. And I encourage you to. I can't even imagine now what my life would be like without using Chat GPT. It is such an important course. All right, speaking of Jen Cooper, she is going to be joining us next with her mentoring minute. So Jen, you want to take it away?
Maybe I should unmute. Yes, I would like to take it away. Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me today. I'm really excited because today I'm going to talk about here to emphasize a crucial aspect of your notary practice that many people overlook, and that's understanding your state witness requirements. As a California notary, I have learned that witnesses can be some game changers in challenging situations. Did you know that in California, credible witnesses can actually replace ID verification? But every state is different. So ask yourself, can witnesses substitute for identification in my state? What role do witnesses play when a signer can only make a mark? Are witnesses mandatory for certain documents? These are just technicalities. They aren't just technicalities. They're tools that can save your signing appointments. For instance, when I had a client who only could make an X mark, knowing the exact witness requirements meant the difference between a successful notarization and a rescheduled appointment. So take control of your notary practice, research your state's witness guidelines today, check your state's notary handbook, consult your Secretary of State's website, or join professional notary associations for accurate information. Laura Biewer is a great resource for that. And remember that you're not just a notary, you are a professional who needs to master every aspect of your craft. Understanding witness requirements is part of that expertise. So knowledge is power, so know your state's witness requirements. Jen put in the chat a blog post I wrote about witness requirements. I did that with NNA. Also, my notary calendar from Tony Benson has a great free witness hub that you can sign up on to be a witness and to get witnesses for your signings wherever you are in the country. That's your mentoring minute.
Thank you so much, Jen. Great advice. And I just want to let everybody know about the My Notary Calendar Witness Hub. It just launched. He's building it. So he is looking for notaries to join. It's a free service. So please go check that out. The link is in the chat. Now, I want to let you know too that Laura and I, when we sat down to craft what this year was going to look like on TNT, we made a decision that we wanted to once a month bring everybody a micro lesson, something important or timely that they needed to learn that goes a little deeper than Jen's mentoring minute. And so this week, we have invited Shelley Thompson from the great state of Michigan to join us and give us a micro lesson on taxes, notary taxes. Oh my God, the thing we all dread, right? So Shelley is here to break this down for us and make it a little more simple. Shelley, welcome to TNT, and please take it away.
All right. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. I'm excited. See, what do you mean taxes? You say it like that. It's a bad thing. We love taxes, don't we? I know. I know nobody likes it. Everybody's got to do it. And so I'm gonna share my screen. Maybe I have to figure out which screen. And then perfect. All right, I think I'm sharing it. Hopefully. Hopefully everybody can see it. Okay, wonderful.
Yes, we can see it.
All right. So here it is, tax essentials for entrepreneurs. So you have to do it. The best way to do it is to just know what you're doing. Get a little education. So it's not scary. Have resources and know that you are not alone. Everybody just hates taxes. It's just what it is. And so just a little bit about who I am. I have done taxes for other people. I've worked for other companies about 25 years. In 2014, I got tired of it. Said, I'm not going to do that anymore. If I'm going to spend 60 hours a week in an office, it's going to be in my office. So that's what I did. I stopped working for other people. I started my own business and love it. It was the same time I opened my notary business. And so it works really hand in hand because I'm super busy from, January to April, but then I didn't have as much. I mean, I'm still busy. I still do tax, representation and whatnot, but it's not as busy. And so it has that beautiful balance with notary work to fill that gap. So I am an enrolled agent. That means I'm licensed by the IRS. I can represent people. I've had to sit for 3 different tests. They were each 3.5 hours to prove to the IRS that I actually do know tax law, know what I'm talking about. I have to do 72 hours of continuing education every 3 years. So, spend a lot of time learning about taxes. So, anyway, why is it important to you? What does it matter? You want to avoid penalties. You want to stay compliant. You don't want to owe the IRS extra money. They can penalize you. They can assign penalties, interest. It's a pain. You don't want to do that. You just want to make sure that you're staying compliant, because you work hard for your money. You want to keep your money. You want to keep as much of it that you can. When you are self-employed, you're going to need this income to show. Like if you ever want to run an apartment, if you want to buy a house, you want to buy a car, you want to get a credit card, you want to have this income, an accurate income shown, so you can prove to build that credit, get that credit, if that's what you need, if you're in those stages of life, you want to be able to prove that. And then, and part of it, why does it matter? Because you want to make sure that it's worth your while. Are you wasting your time? Are you working for free? Don't do that. Really don't do that. And just some different tax saving strategies for entrepreneurs. And I cannot stress enough, if you don't understand this, if you don't understand accounting or what your requirements are, hire somebody, hire a bookkeeper, hire an accountant. Doesn't necessarily have to be a CPA company. I know a lot of the times we talk about, get a CPA. You don't necessarily need a CPA, but you do need someone who knows what they're doing. We as notaries, we see it all the time. Everybody's gone to that appointment for a will or a power of attorney or a quitclaim deed. You don't have any idea. You're looking at this document going, this is not going to fly. There's a reason why we have like attorneys and document preparation. We know that. So take the time to spend a little bit of money on the front end. If you don't know, to even just get that basis, meet with an accountant. What do I need to do? What do I need to set up? The first year you do your taxes, as a solopreneur, or, have them done professionally. So then you can make sure, go back and look, do it on TurboTax. If you're a self-preparer, do it on TurboTax or whatever, and then go to a professional. just make sure that way you can kind of make sure you're not missing something. You know, make sure you're looking at your retirement too. What are you doing? You know, are you saving? Are you putting away? And make sure you're paying attention to the tax laws that are changing. They change every year. Little things change that affect small businesses. Now it's your responsibility to know. If you're not paying a tax professional, it's your responsibility to know. So, which leads us to key responsibilities for entrepreneurs. And if somebody had, like, if you have questions and you want to interrupt, please feel free to. That's okay. I like it better. So I want to make sure that I'm covering everything, but I want to make sure that I'm answering what you guys want to hear.
We will definitely take a spot for questions, Shelley, when you're done going through the presentation. So we stick to that 20-minute timeline.
Okay. All right. Perfect. I just wanted to. Okay. So responsibilities. You have to track all your income. Or, you know, it's like, oh, well, I didn't get a 1099, so I don't have to include that. Yes, you do. People can send you, so they're required to send you a 1099 if it's over $600. They can send it to you. I got one in the mail for $75. Get a 1099. So you could get a 1099 if it's less than $600, but you have to make sure you're keeping track of all of it. Keep a track of everything. All the income, if it's Venmo, cash, whatever, you have to keep track of that. And you want to make sure you're keeping track of your notary, how much of that is notary. So make sure you're separating that out. Estimated taxes. If you're going to owe taxes, you're required to pay estimates. If you're going to owe more than $1,000, that's really the magic number. So that's kind of a long, drawn out way to figure it out. If you have questions about that, please feel free to reach out to me. And then you're going to pay self-employment taxes. So that's when you're self-employed, that's the joy. You get to pay that Social Security and FICA, both portions, the employer and the employee portion. So one of the nice things about being a notary, the notary income, your any income that you make as a notary, you can exempt that from the self-employment tax. Only the stamping part, only what you can charge by your state per stamp. Michigan, it's $10 per my signature. California, I think it's $15 per their signature. So whatever you can charge, that state maximum, you want to keep track of that, because if you're like my age bracket, I've already paid into Social Security. I don't have to pay in anymore. I'm going to be able, I've got enough credits. Somebody young, like my daughter, like Anna, I make sure she's not excluding her notary income from the self-employment tax. She's still building up those credits. So if you have questions about that, we can look into that and explain that a little bit more in detail. And if your state has sales tax, notaries, it's a service, so you shouldn't have sales tax on it, but I believe there's a couple states out there that do. And then let's see, you want to keep track of your deductions. You have to keep track of your deductions because you want to be able to write off, you know, you don't want to pay taxes on income if you have legitimate deductions or expenses. Some of the common ones for notaries, the biggest one, home office. If you have a home office, you can make sure that you're writing that a portion of your home off. Mileage, huge. That's huge for us because, you know, if we're traveling, that's usually most likely in the biggest deduction that you're going to run into is the mileage. So this year it's 70 cents a mile. So yay. Your equipment, your software, your stamps, you know, if you have to buy a new stamp, if you buy a journal, if you're paying for the for Jen's course and Laura's course, you know, those courses, those are legitimate business expenses. We want to make sure that we're writing that off. Your printer, your scanner, things of that nature, your folders, you know, make sure you're keeping track of all of those things. Any professional fees that you're paying, like the mentoring, the marketing, advertising, all of that. You want to make sure you keep good records to back up all of your deductions. Record keeping, use a bookkeeping software, something. You have to keep something, even if it's, if you're writing it down, if you're gonna be diligent about it and you write it down paper and pencil, that's fantastic too. But Notary Assist, Notary Gadget are amazing. I have not used the new, I think the Notary Calendar, I've heard has some ways to keep track of it. I haven't looked at that yet, so I don't have personal experience with that, but I have heard really nice things about it. So, but yeah, Notary Assist, Notary Gadget, specifically for notaries. So, and the monthly or the annual, that's another business deduction. So, you can use QuickBooks, but you want to keep your receipts. You don't have to keep the paper receipts, just scan them and keep them in your records. So maintain a separate bank account. People get a little confused about this a lot of the times. It doesn't have to be a business account. It can be a personal account. It just has to be something separate to make it easy for you. So you can have a personal bank account. I did for years, but it was only for my business. So there's some different rules depending on your structure, if you're an LLC, if you're an S corporation. So, you know, go ahead and check, but make sure, yeah, you have something separate. Makes it so much easier, especially at tax time. You can go through, look at your expenses. What did I spend? Here it is. You don't have to go hunt and peck through all your different accounts. Avoiding the common tax mistakes, business and personal expenses. It's a mess. It gets to be really messy if you have, if you're only using like one account and you've got all your personal stuff and all your, in your business account, or if you're using your business account for personal expenses, don't do it. Just make your life easy. So estimated tax payments, make sure if you're required to make those payments, make them. And then missing deductions, if you don't know what's deductible, that it can cost you money. You don't want to pay taxes on it if you don't have to. And ignoring deadlines. So I see this every year. April 15th rolls around. People are like, oh, I'm not ready, so I want to do an extension. An extension, you can get an extension to file, not an extension to pay. So if you owe the IRS, like if you're going to owe taxes, the extension only gives you an extension to file, not to actually pay your taxes. So, and then final tips. All right, stay organized. Stay organized. Get it organized. Do not take a whole stack of box filled with papers to an accountant or a tax preparer in March and think that they're not going to call you bad names under their breath. We'll take care of you, but it just makes it worse. It's hard to remember. It's really hard. I tell people, close out my tip is always close out your books at the end of the day, so you don't have to remember. McDonald's, I've never seen the people at McDonald's just be like, oh, I don't want to close down my register tonight. I'll just do it next week. They get it done that day. So if there's any issues, they know about it. So those are my, those are my tips. I know it's a lot, so I apologize. It's a lot to kind of fit in.
Now,
if you want to.
These are great tips, Shelley. Thank you so much. And guys, I have posted in the chat the link to Shelley's website as well as her link tree for additional resources. And it looks like she's got a QR code there for us too. But I know we've got some questions for you because there's that. And I get this question every year, which is hysterical, Shelley, because I'm like, taxes for me, I'm like, I'm hiring somebody to do that. But I always get this question, which is, well, I've heard if you're a notary, we don't have to pay income tax on our work as a notary, right? And so that comes up every year. So I'm so glad that you addressed that. But I know Jeanette has a question for you. Jeanette, what did you want to ask Shelley?
Hi, Shelley. Can you hear me?
I can. I miss you.
Hi, go Lions.
Yeah.
My question is, do we get a 1099 from Zelle, Cash App, or PayPal?
Yes. And no. So the rule has changed, and if they're supposed to, the deadline keeps being pushed back. If you have more than $600 in transactions with them, they're going to be required to send you a 1099. However, due to the volume, that's been pushed back. So this year it is, if you've had $2,500, you're going to get a 1099K from there. So you're still, even if you don't get the 1099, you're still supposed to report that income. But that's why you're going to have to separate what is personal and what is business with those payment processors.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Thanks, Jeanette. And Lynn, do you have a question for Shelley?
Yes, a follow-up on something Shelley just said about the 1099s from the pay services. I get a 1099 from one of my main clients who exceeds the 600. She pays me through Zelle. So in that case, I would be getting double 1099s for the same money. How do I navigate so the IRS doesn't think I'm skipping out on half the money?
So when you record that on your taxes, there's a space when you're reporting the 1099K from Zelle. And you should be able to let them know that that income is being reported already on your 1099C. So there should be I know there's a checkbox on my software that's, when I'm entering the 1099K, that says it's already included in the Schedule C. And that's what you want to make sure. So either don't include it when you fill out your income for that Schedule C. You can either leave that off and then enter the 1099K and then make sure that that total income matches, what it's supposed to be, or you can include it in the Schedule C and then mark your 1099K that it's already included.
And to complicate it, some of my other notary clients also pay me through Zelle. So it's all going to be double reported unless are you saying I can just put a note with an explanation? All 1090, this much is reported on this Schedule C and this much is reported on the other Schedule C.
No, so it's all gonna flow to your Schedule C. All of it will flow to your Schedule C. Your 1099K is gonna show up on your Schedule C for notary work. When you enter in your income, you can either leave off what's going to be included on your that 1099 and enter it, and your tax program will add it on. Or you can, when you enter the 1099K, you can say, don't include this. don't add this to my Schedule C. I've already done it.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Shelley, I'm having a hard time finding my own hand up here, but since you're talking about Zelle, because I do Zelle, and Square, one of the things that notaries may not think to go back and capture is all the credit card fees that you've paid over the course of the year, which could be, 3.5%. And if you're not tracking that, I can go in to a Square and I can run a report and it will tell me how much I paid in credit card fees for the year, which I've run already. So I have that. So make sure you don't lose out on that expense.
Yes, that's a huge one. And so many people they don't pay attention to that. They forget. And your bank fee. So if your bank account charges you,
Yeah, bank fees.
yeah, like if it's $5 to, have the joy of having a bank account.
Letting them hold your money.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely. That's a great point. The credit card fees.
And I think Jeanette might have another question. I'm sorry, Laura, were you?
I have other ones, but I'll let Jeanette go.
Okay. Jeanette, did you have another question for us?
Yeah, just real quick, what's the difference between a 1099K and a 1099C?
There's a lot of them.
So a 1099, a 1099C is actually, that's for canceled debt. That you would get that if you had canceled debt. You're going to get, so as notaries, we're going to get a 1099 MIS or a 1099 NEC. So non-employee compensation is what that's what most of us are going to receive. The 1099K is that's going to come from a payment processor. So either PayPal, Zelle, Cash App, those type, Square, something like that. Somebody that processed the payment for you is going to send you the 1099K.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, there's actually 24 different types of 1099s that you can get out there. Gambling income, like Shelley said, canceled debt. All you have to do is Google different types of 1099 and it'll show you. But Laura, you had another question.
I did. And so it's also connected to Jeanette's about 1099s, and there are a lot of different ones. But if you are a notary who uses a courier, say, for apostille work, or you pay other notaries some portion of a job, and you have paid more than $600, you are responsible to create a 1099 NEC for those. I had about 8 of them this year that I had to create, and you can only go up to 10 and then you have to e-file. So fortunately I was under that, but just remember that requirement falls on you. So you want to make sure you're tracking all that money you're giving out to other people so that if you hit that limit, you issue that 1099 to them.
And $600 is that magic line there.
The deadline to file with the Social Security Administration is already passed. Isn't that January 31, Shelley?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in any service, so if you're paying a bookkeeper or anything like that.
So landscaper.
A landscaper,
Landscaper, the pool boy,
Melissa, did you have your hand up? Melissa Dominguez, I thought I saw your hand up.
I did, and then I spaced it, but now I remembered again. So those kind of fees, like if people give you the money to pay the $26 at the SOS per se, but then they give you your money also. Is that what you're talking about? Separating those kind of things out?
Yeah, so the $26 was an expense to you that you want to keep track of, and then the rest of it was income to you. And if they ended up paying you more than $600, they should have sent a 1099 to you, but you will offset some of that money with your expenses to do the work.
So when you put it in your Notary Assist or Notary Gadget, how would you list that? Do you know?
Well, I know how I do it, but Shelley, is there a recommendation?
As an expense?
Yeah, so I mean, it really just depends on how on what you're using for tracking.
I use Notary Assist.
Okay, so yeah, so you would just put any expenses that were attributed to that job. I do the income, the total, whatever I was paid, if I was paid $150, and then 26 of it was for UPS shipping. 20 of it was for the apostille service. So any, if any expenses that, and then I always do, I add my mileage and how much the notary fees were.
So when you list it, when you're putting it on your invoice, are you putting it as a credit, different than a cost, maybe? I don't know, like how would you list it on that order per se, or when you're paying a witness out of the money per se?
Yeah.
Also? On the
Oh,
order,
I
you
put
would,
it under expenses. I have witnesses.
so you don't put
I have
it in your
outside
invoice.
services. That's the category for me.
Okay.
I have called outside services, and then I put outside services hyphen whatever their name is. If I'm pretty sure I use them a lot, and I'll probably end up having to do a 1099. And then I have a general outside services for those that's one-time witness here and there. So I'm capturing the expense for them. And so that's where the expenses sit. But the job that I got paid, and that included any cost I incurred. I put the whole amount on the income side, right?
I
So
got
when you're looking at signings, and I got paid, $200 for a trust, but I had to pay for a witness to come, a second witness. I put 200 in my income part of it, and then I go over to the expenses to outside services, and I would put the witness fees there.
I got it. That makes sense. Duh. How about when you're invoicing the client, you put the whole thing? Would you separate maybe the 26 for the apostille and then your amount?
I do delineate my fees so that they know exactly. I'm very transparent with my clients, so they know what they're paying for.
Okay. All right. That's what I've been doing, but then I thought, well, maybe they really pay me 150, but then the 26. So I give the whole 76, but just line it out so they know for their records, like the person that I'm
There's
invoicing for
expenses for you to do the job.
Okay. Thank you. That makes so much sense. Duh.
Thanks, Melissa. And then Shirley, do you have a question for Shelley? You're on mute.
How's that?
Perfect.
Okay, sorry. With my notary service, I also offer legal assistance service for attorneys. So like I'll go and do some work for an attorney and they might have me notarize and I charge them for that as the mobile notary in addition to the work I do. How do I separate that out, or can I put that all in one income? And then I've never even thought about whether I needed to separate it out from my income. Let's say it's $100 and it's $40 notary fee for showing up and the seal and everything. Am I asking? Does that make sense? My question?
It does. So if it's all in one kind of profession or service group, you can put it all together.
Okay.
If it's vastly different, so like if you have, so myself, I have notary and then I have a tax business. So they're two separate. I do two separate Schedule Cs. If you're a notary and then you also drive for Lyft or Uber, that's going to be two separate entities because they're not the same thing.
Right.
Yeah. So the legal services would be similar enough to what we're doing as yeah.
But then you also said that you can exempt what you charge for your signature. I'm assuming that's for the seal. Like in Montana, it's $10. Is there a place on my schedule where it says this is what you charge for your seal, so they're exempt from the income?
So it's not exempt from the income. It's only exempt from self-employment tax.
Okay,
And
Okay.
there is, yeah, there's a line on there and it actually says notary. And so you can enter that right on it's Schedule SE where you're paying the self-employment tax.
okay. Well, we have an accountant do our stuff. I just have to know what to gather. So I need to
Yeah.
separate my legal services, my notary services, and my notary seals. So they're all separate, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Great
Uh-huh.
question, Shirley. And Matt, did you have
Yeah,
a
he had a good
question?
question.
I think I saw you put something in the chat, Matt.
I can ask it, but I gotta go because I got 1 o'clock. But my question is, and this will help everybody, and I'll come back to the replay. What's the difference between an expense and a 1099 expense? How do we know? Like, because my question is, I spend thousands of dollars with FedEx every year. Do I need to 1099 FedEx?
So you don't send a 1099 if it's a corporation. So that's why you have to collect W-9s before you pay anybody.
Right.
You've got to get that W-9, and on there it'll tell you, are they a sole proprietor? Are they a partnership? Are they an S? If they're an S corporation or a C corporation, then they don't get a 1099. You don't have to send them to them.
So in general terms, if it's an incorporated business, that's an expense. If it's an individual, that's a 1099.
Yes.
Okay.
It's an expense that will require
A 1099.
That's what I
if
mean.
if you spend more than $600 with that company or person.
Well, wait a minute. I thought if it was an incorporated company, it's an expense. Isn't that what you just said?
Yeah.
So they're all expenses. I mean, it's all an expense. So if you're paying Jen to hand deliver your documents, you don't want to pay FedEx. They just take too long. But you can pay Jen. You've paid Jen $1,000. You still have that expense for delivery. It's gonna be shipping. You just use Jen Neitzel shipping service. You have that $1,000 expense, but at the end of the year, you're going to issue a 1099 to Jen Neitzel shipping.
Okay, so my question is, what's the delineating factor of what company gets a 1099 and what doesn't?
If it's an S corporation or a C corporation, you don't send them a 1099.
Everybody else gets one, even an
Everybody
LLC.
else gets one. Yes. Yep.
Okay.
I think
Thank you,
there's a
Matt.
little confusion though, Matt. You FedEx to you is an expense to you. You would never send FedEx a 1099.
Well,
Never.
the reason he wouldn't send it to 1099 is because they're a corporation. They're incorporated. But it's
Right,
the
so
same
you
thing.
only pay.
But if they weren't
Right.
incorporated, he would be sending a 1099 because it's income to them. It's expense to him, but it's income to the receiver.
Right.
And that's what the 1099 is for. So then his question was, well, when do I do a 1099 and when do I don't do a 1099? When they are these huge companies like FedEx, we don't send 1099s to them. They're incorporated, they're an S corp. That's when we don't have to worry about it. They're on their own.
And nor to your lawyer.
To your lawyer, is your lawyer?
Lawyer, you don't
are
1099 them
LLCs.
either.
Yeah,
Yeah, you do. Yep. Unless they're an S corporation or a C corporation, you send it to your lawyer. Even if they're a PC professional corporation, they still get a 1099.
So there you go. Man, did I open
Hey
a can of
guys,
worms.
this was a really
Yeah.
good conversation, and I just want to say here publicly that Jen Neitzel shipping invoice for $1,000 is going to Matt Miller after this call.
Yeah.
So
I'll catch that on the
Right.
replay.
Good luck, Ray. I just want to thank Shelley for coming on and sparking this awesome conversation. We appreciate it so much. And again, if you guys want to catch the replay to get the details of this or to drill down more into her presentation, you can catch the replay on my YouTube channel, Marketing for notaries. Thank you so much, Shelley. This was a great conversation.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I love it. I'm
Awesome.
very honored. So I appreciate it.
Absolutely. We enjoyed it. And next month, we're going to be continuing the conversation talking about financial reporting with Sue Hope of Notary Assist. So she's going to help us on that other side, the reporting side, since Shelley was talking to us today about the filing side. So thank you again, Shelley. And I just want to do a special little shout out here to Frank, who I believe is from Tennessee. Did I see that
Ohio.
right, Frank?
I think he's in
Ohio. Frank, is Frank still on the call? I don't see him.
Oh,
He
shoot.
had his hand up and he was ready to go with questions right at the top of the call. And of course, today's the day we do our micro lesson. But next month, like I said, we will be back with another micro lesson. We are doing this the second Monday of each month. And we
Tuesday?
have, Tuesday. Did I say
Tuesday.
Monday? The second Tuesday of each month. So we have the whole year planned out. We've got some exciting things coming your way. But now it's your turn to ask questions, anything you need to ask us about your notary business. And you will find your raise hand function at the bottom of your Zoom screen if you want to get that hand raised. If you can't find the raise hand button, look under reactions.
Yeah.
Or under more, the little 3 dots that say more. You can look under there for those questions. Who is going to be the brave one that goes first today? They're quiet again, Laura.
I know. Well, we just,
Do you think we scared them all off
they're
with the tax
exhausted from
talk?
all those tax questions.
I know, they're like, oh God, crap, it's too much to think about, right? I do want to say, yes, I'm aware that the email did not go out again today. I'm the TNT email. Thank you for letting us know. One of these days, I'm going to get this figured out, you guys. I promise. So thank you for your patience. Melissa, do you have a question for us?
Yes. What is your take on, I know on loan signings, the signer is supposed to fill out everything, but sometimes it's faster maybe if you fill in their address, stuff that's already that things that so to help the signing along. What is your take on that?
Mine is I don't do that. It's not my place. I find other shortcuts. I find other ways that I can expedite that signing, but not by helping them fill it out.
And I agree, Melissa. We can make assumptions all day long. You know what they say about assumptions. But something could have changed, right, from the information we have. And so it just makes more sense to do it right there. And I know people are in a hurry, but if you set proper expectations going in, and let them know they're going to be there for about an hour, or however long it takes you, then that should help suffice that hurry that people have. And
sometimes, oh, sorry.
I do know those title companies too. They will tell you, like, go ahead and pre-fill this out and get it ready. I did in-office stuff too, and my standard answer to that was, that is not part of my process. I fill it out when they arrive.
I don't either. Oh, go ahead.
Melissa, sometimes what I find is not the signer rushing me, it's me rushing me. It's the notary, because either we didn't give enough time in between appointments so that we could account a buffer in case it took an extra 5 minutes or 10 minutes at the table, or in case I got stuck at a couple of extra stoplights, or hey, God forbid I should have to pee. I mean, any of these things, if we don't give ourselves enough time in between appointments, then we're going to have that inner sense of, I'm taking too long. I got to get going. This has got to get done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't fill it out either in between, but I'm because physically too, I can't run all over or else I won't be able to walk. But I give myself the 4 hours in between because I at least take an hour no matter what, filling, even if it's a 35-page seller package. By the time they fill out the 1099 and all those things, the time goes by, so I don't know how people do it, and then you're rushing, you make more mistakes. So I just like to take my time. So
Good for you. That makes
Yeah,
a
I
good
think
notary, Melissa,
Jen,
taking your
Jen's,
time.
Jen's suggestion of setting the expectation on the call when you're calling before you get there and reminding them when you get there is also a good way to lift that sense of I've got to hurry up.
Yeah. For both you and the client, I think, because Laura's right. Sometimes we rush ourselves or we have outside influences like a title company or a signing service before we've even, opened the cap on the pen. They're like, you have the docs yet? You got the docs
Yeah.
yet? You got the docs yet? You got the docs yet? I mean, that is for you to turn your phone over. Not everything requires a response immediately. And so sometimes it's just you have to ignore that and do your process.
For example, I had a 35-page seller packet, but the people were getting divorced and they were together at the house. And I thought, okay, this shouldn't take more than an hour or half hour or what have you, because she said, I have a hard stop at this time because I have an appointment. The woman. We were there 2.5 hours for 35 pages.
Yeah. We've all had
You
that.
have to be
Yeah.
patient and not hurry them. I mean,
I agree. Good advice. Thank you, Melissa. And Alicia from California has a question for us. Hey, Alicia.
Hi guys, it's been a minute. Hey, just clarifying well, I actually have two questions, but a clarification question to what was just asked. What happens, we have those signers that are elderly or maybe can't fill out, and I'm not talking about the 593 and you're answering those questions for them, but simply just an address. My forwarding address is going to be 123 Main Street. Is that strictly prohibited? Just to clarify and piggyback to what the last question was.
I asked family members or other friends that happen to be there if they're not by themselves, if they could help them because they could help them. I just really cannot help them. So that would be another way that would help them with the writing, especially if they say something in the beginning of the appointment. It's hard for me to fill all these out. I could probably do my signature maybe. Then I'll say, do you have a neighbor? Do you have a family member? Do you have a friend who could just pop over and help you with this? That way your hand won't create problems for you. So I'm up for suggesting alternatives to assist them.
Cool.
In my state, Alicia, in Texas, I mean, I could just like fill in an address for them if they want to, but I also coach my customers on the phone to have everything but the signature portions filled out before I get there. That is something that helps save time. If that's not the case, because it's on the document I'm bringing, then I will let them know that there's some things that they need to fill out. And if they express any kind of concern, then I address that on the phone call. That's why it's so important to really ask.
Right.
Laura's a big proponent of this too, is just really ask the good questions
Right.
on that upfront call.
And I try to do that at all times. Yeah. I had a situation like that last week, so I just wanted to clarify that. And I don't know if this is appropriate to ask. I was late on the call, but and it might have been covered, so forgive me. But I'm in the process of filing my taxes, and I did not get all of those 1099s. And I don't know if it was covered here, but we're still to report what we make. So for an example, I make 200,000, but I only get $60,000 in 1099s. I have to report all of my earnings, correct?
That is correct. Yeah. So really the 1099s aren't for you for taxes, really. You should have been tracking it, reporting it, and you're going to say, I made all of this money, whatever it is, and then all my expenses. The 1099s are for the government, and you're getting a copy of it because they're sending the A copy with a transmittal, a 1096 transmittal that says these are the people that I paid money to. And this is one of the cross checks that the government uses. And they're saying, hey, if you got $60,000 in 1099s, then you better have income that's more than $60,000 that's reported. Same thing with the credit card transactions. They use those 1099Ks they do a formula and they calculate because they know you don't do everything by credit card. So then they have this formula that they calculate approximately how much more you probably have than what was on the 1099-K. It's just another one of those governmental cross checks to see, are you reporting all of your income?
Got it. Awesome. I'm on the right track. I just wanted to
Yeah,
clarify.
absolutely.
Great question, Alicia. Thank you for asking. And then I saw Ellen in the chat had some questions. Ellen, do you want to ask us those here live on the call? And I also see that my friend Ev Sharp is looking for a witness in the Santa Cruz, California or Aptos, California area for tomorrow. If you are in that area, drop your info in the chat for Ev Sharp.
Before we wrap up, because I think we're pretty much almost at the end of our time, Jen, why don't you let people know how you can help them beyond this call?
Well, thank you for asking, Laura. I would love to. My community is called Marketing for Notaries, and we focus on one thing and one thing only. And it's very likely the biggest obstacle that you have in your business, and that is your marketing. I teach a system called the 5-point marketing system, and I teach you step by step by step how to get out of your own way, how to get out there and build your know, like, and trust factor in your community. And we have a few things that support that. Our Marketing for Notaries community, of course, that is hosted on the school platform. So it's awesome and easy to use. But I also have, if membership in a community is not something you're interested in, I also have a marketing calendar that is $88 right now. It's going to give you 5 ideas for your blog posts, your social media posts, anything that you're putting out into the world, things that you want to, like maybe you want to send a follow-up email and you should be, and you don't know what to say. The ideas are there for you, as well as 3 pop-ins every single month so that you can go and visit new businesses and not have to spend your time wondering, is this a good idea? Is this something that, you know, a new business might like? The answers are all there for you. You can find that in the chat, a link to that in the chat as well. Laura, what about you? How can people connect with you outside this call?
Guys, there's a couple different ways. One is I do free 15-minute consults where I can answer a question or refer you to somebody who can be a best resource to you. And that's on my Calendly app, and it's Calendly. Oh, it's in the chat. And then the other way is that I have a similar type call on Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. for you early birds. And we start out with a mindset intention. And then from there, we ask the questions, Q&A. Matt Miller helps on that call as well. And Jen, when she's available, helps on that call as well. And because it's a much smaller group, we tend to ask a question which ends up having 5 or 6 other questions related to that question. So we really start digging very deep into the subject matter. So it's not the quantity of questions we can address, but rather how far can we take it? So that's another way, and you just need to get the link. Go to coachmelaura.com, and it's called Laura's Inner Circle.
It's a great call. Thank you guys for being here today. Thanks for your patience with all of this transition to the new call and the email confusion. I appreciate it so much. I'm going to get this figured out. I promise you guys. If you want to catch the replay, you can find it on the Marketing for Notaries YouTube channel. Have a fabulous week, everybody. And we look forward to seeing you back here next Tuesday for TNT. Have a good week. Bye.